Yes, the heart truly does ache when a golf course is abused. And yet there are precious few things that give us more pleasure and ask less of us than a golf course. That's better. Common sense and a touch of appreciation are all it takes to consummate one of the great romances in all of sport, that between the golfer and the course. Golf courses are maintained so much better today than they used to be. The good old days really weren't that good. Hand tools and early mechanical equipment were slow and inefficient. Chemical dusting for disease control took forever. During the 1920s, nobody worried about the cost of manpower. Now, this is a typical weeding crew from that period. This muscle-powered mower was the long-time workhorse in care of the greens. To cut a complete set of 18 putting greens required 18 man-hours. This is a contemporary triplex riding mower, called triplex because it has 3 separate mowing units. It cuts to an accuracy within 1/64th of an inch, and then it collects the clippings. One worker can cut all 18 greens in less than 3 hours. Special equipment is available to handle just about every golf course job. More flexible, accurate, and of course expensive, but it's worth it. The same course that might have used a work crew of 60 during the 1920s, today is maintained by a crew of only 12 workers. The course you're seeing is at the Baltus Roll Golf Club in Springfield, New Jersey, where golf course maintenance is both a craft and an art. Hallowed Baltus Roll, the first club to entertain the United States Open Championship 6 times. Baltus Roll and nearly 1,000 other courses rely on help offered by the agronomists of the United States Golf Association. The USGA Green Section has 2 functions. It sponsors basic research, and its agronomists visit courses. They offer invaluable advice to Green Committee chairmen and golf course superintendents. USGA President Sandy Tatum put it this way.
Perhaps the most fundamental of all of the services rendered to the game of golf by the United States Golf Association is that provided by the USGA Green Section, dedicated to research and education on the maintenance of golf courses. There is no reason why all of the golfers in this country cannot enjoy golf played on golf courses properly maintained. All it takes is the sort of caring and thoughtful application and education that the USGA Green Section exists to provide.
There's no doubt about it. Golf courses today are cared for better than ever. It's not a natural process, you know. Golf course maintenance practices don't actually conquer nature, but they certainly tame those natural tendencies which could very quickly develop into 150 acres of weeds. The contemporary golf course maintenance program requires supervision by trained and devoted turf specialists like Joe Flaherty, the golf course superintendent at Baltus Roll. First-class management is essential. Today, it's not at all unusual for the annual maintenance budget for an 18-hole course to approximate $200,000. About 25% of that money is spent on the putting greens, which are expected to remain smooth as silk while withstanding the pressures imposed on them by both man and nature. This is a cross-section of a green built to the specifications recommended by the USGA Green Section. At the bottom, you see the drainage line cut into the subsoil. That drainage tile is overlaid with a 4-inch layer of pea gravel. Over this, we find a 1 to 2-inch layer of sand. Then a 12-inch layer of topsoil. This topsoil, a laboratory-approved formulated mixture of sand, soil, and organic matter, is the growing medium for the turf roots. The end product is a surface that will not get brick hard, but at the same time is not so soft and spongy that it will hold a poorly played shot. The attention paid to putting greens stems from the very nature of the game. Depending on who you are, it takes 2 or 3 strokes to cover 400 yards, mostly in the air, and then the same number of strokes to eliminate the last 40 feet. The theoretical scratch golfer takes half his strokes on the greens. The USGA green section's quest for the perfect green is endless. Perfection, in this case, requires consistency. A simple but thoroughly reliable instrument known as the USGA Stimpmeter takes the guesswork out of gauging consistency. Readings are taken in terms of feet, how far a ball rolls when gravity pulls it out of a notch near the top of the instrument. Readings taken from the Stimpmeter serve as a guide for determining mowing practices. The key factors are how frequently greens are mowed and at what height. To minimize grain, which is nothing more than a tendency of the blades of grass to grow a bit horizontally in one direction, greens are mowed in different directions. Good greens are cut at least 5 times a week. Great greens are cut every day. The location of the holes should be changed daily. Have you ever seen a new hole cut? First, the new location is selected. The top section, called a plug, is cut out and set aside. Then the hole is cut to its complete depth. The rules of golf specify that the hole shall be 4 1/4 inches in diameter and at least 4 inches deep. The liner should be at least 1 inch below the surface. A few simple steps and the new hole is ready for play. A putting green is the ultimate thoroughbred of turfgrass management, and like all thoroughbreds, it requires special care and management. Occasionally, play has to be delayed while some essential job is done. Patience. The end result is a healthier golf course that's more fun.
Since 1920, the USGA Green Section has been dedicated to developing information, to developing the technology, to developing education, to developing research with regard to the proper maintenance of golf courses. And all of that body of knowledge is now available to anyone in this country who has a need for it.
This is a turf experimental station at Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey. Researchers are constantly at work putting together the pieces of a puzzle that turns out to be better turf. The effects of different grasses are tested. There will be tests of various turf grasses for resistance to disease or ability to stand up under all kinds of climatic stresses. There will be tests to find new ways to prevent or combat the invasion of troublesome insects. Along with these studies, there's a real effort to share the information with others. The USGA does this through the publication of its Green Section Record magazine. Aside from publishing articles, the USGA Green Section has specially trained manpower, a field force of 10 agronomists in 6 regions throughout the country to visit clubs, help solve problems, share information. Up to this point, we've been dealing largely with the working behind-the-scene elements of golf course maintenance. Now let's move out front to the vital role of the relationship between the golfer and the course. The golfer's responsibility is unique in the sports world in that in golf, he is expected to actively participate in the care of the playing arena. Without that participation, the entire exercise of golf course maintenance can fall flat. The greens, of course, are where more care is needed than anywhere else. The very act of walking, how you lift or don't lift your feet, can damage the green. Remember, the rules of golf do not allow for the repair of scuff marks on your line of putt. It's this simple. Golfers shouldn't drag their feet. Replacing a flagstick seems like a simple and innocuous chore. But every so often, someone seems to use the flagstick as a deadly weapon, neglecting to look where he's poking it. The one great act of omission on the part of golfers, according to golf course superintendents everywhere, is the failure to repair ball marks.
Fixing a ball mark doesn't take very much time. It's a good habit that contributes to good greens and better play. See what I mean?
Do your part. It's so easy. Use a golf tee if you'd like. Actually, it's a little easier with a simple ball mark tool. The important thing is to loosen up the compacted soil underneath. Bring the turf back over the mark, then press it down, and the scar is fixed in a matter of seconds. But neglect it and see what happens. The next time the green is mowed, the raised edge of the ball mark is scalped. The result, you not only have an uneven surface that can affect play, but you have a surface laid open to invasion from disease and stray weed seeds of all kinds. Let's see what else we can do to help take care of our courses. The teeing ground. According to the rules, a rectangular area 2 club lengths in depth. The tee markers should be changed daily to balance wear and tear. A tee takes a terrific beating, both from the pounding of clubs and the weight of players in the normal course of play. It doesn't need the added burden of a bag full of clubs. In pounds per square inch, a narrow tire like that on a pull cart can sink into the surface and compact the soil even more than the wheel of a full-size golf cart. The cart should never be on the tee. It should be off to one side. Need a practice swing or two? Do it off the tee. When you play outside the markers, you're not playing by the rules of golf. Play from within the teeing ground between the markers and no further back than 2 club lengths. The markers have been installed so as to rotate and balance out the wear and tear on the teeing areas. It goes without saying that divots should always be replaced. Incidentally, don't overlook those tees. It's surprising what a broken tee can do, and it's the same way with other debris. That neglected tee can catch a mower blade in just the wrong way, wedge in, and knock the blade out of alignment so that it makes a rough cut. It can't even cut paper in this condition. The bed knife may have to be reground. It takes special skill to get the blade sharp enough to cut golf course tees and greens. Between the tee and the green, the golfer has one primary responsibility: replace divots.
Nobody likes to play out of a hole. Replacing a divot just makes good sense.
But what if you just scrape the surface, or there isn't a solid hunk of turf to replace? Should you bother to try to fill in the hole? Sure you should. Putting that fuzz back, even though it won't grow, protects and shades the damaged area and helps to fight off weeds. The cover also becomes a mulch to retain moisture and help the roots to recover from the scalping. Replacing a divot is no small favor to a golf course. An essential part of the challenge and beauty of golf courses are the bunkers. This one at Baltusrol is being smoothed with another modern labor-saving piece of equipment, the power rake. Golf instruction books always seem to insist that there's nothing easier than getting out of the sand. After all, the pros say you don't even have to hit the ball with a sand wedge. You hit somewhere behind the ball. Well, some of us don't find the bunker shots quite that easy. But nevertheless, let us treat them with respect. Never walk in or out of a bunker on the high side. The very first section in the rules of golf is titled Etiquette. Under the heading Care of the Course, it reads thus: Holes in bunkers. Before leaving a bunker, a player should carefully fill up and smooth over all holes and footprints made by him. There you have it, neat and clean. It's set now, ready for the next victim.
You know, a bunker shot is my favorite shot. I think it's only just courtesy, and one should take great pride in the fact that they'd like to leave the bunker as they found it, considering it was in good shape. There are not always rakes available at some clubs, but then use your club or your feet and just leave it nice and tidy.
Although some of us have mixed feelings about golf carts, there's no doubt they're here to stay. The way you maneuver a cart can make a world of difference.
A proper use of golf carts is very important. Using them on the cart paths, keeping them off the fringes of the green, the proper usage will help make the game of golf much more enjoyable for all of us.
If there's a prepared path for carts going your way, follow it. If directional arrows are installed, follow them. If there are no traffic guidelines, don't play follow the leader. Spread out to avoid making an unwanted roadway. Fine turf grass can't be treated like macadam. You're traveling over a carpet of living things, and they can take only so much stress. And if you find a slope that makes the wheels spin and chews up the turf, don't force it. Back off, spare the turf, find an easier way. When you approach a soggy spot, resist the temptation to imagine you're in the wilderness at the wheel of a four-wheel drive amphibian. Do avoid it. Wet ground compacts easily, and compaction makes for sorry turf. Even worse, wheels on wet spots make for ruts. How do you like that lie? In the bad old days, there used to be a narrow-headed club called a track iron to nudge your way out of this kind of lie, but they don't make track irons anymore. How a golf course is cared for profoundly influences the way we feel about the game.
One of the nicest things about golf is that the game is played in such a beautiful setting. The more we as golfers do to maintain our courses, the better the game is. Let's do what we can.
Arthur Balfour, Prime Minister of Great Britain and a passionate golfer, expressed his feeling for the game this way. A tolerable day, tolerable green, a tolerable opponent, supply or auto-supply, all that any reasonably constituted human being should require in the way of entertainment. With a fine view and a clear course in front of him, the golfer should find no difficulty in dismissing all worries from his mind and regarding golf, even if it be indifferent golf, as the true and adequate end of man's existence.